Hi, this is Soulgazer. So today I got two jerseys from Miami Heat. This is the 2019-2020 model of the Miami Vice colorway, which is also known as the City Edition. This will be the fourth version of the Miami Vice. And this year I got the Swingman jersey, and the other one is the authentic jersey. If you look at it from a little far away, you already can tell there are some differences between these two jerseys. And we're going to compare these two to see the difference and see if it's worth paying that extra $100 to get the authentic jersey or not. So first of all, we're going to look at the Swingman jersey just to see the basic construction of it. So let's take a look at this first. And before we get into this, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well as liking the video. So this one came out as a City Edition, and I got my usual size, extra large, and as usual, the neckline is a round neck. It has three different colors, 1, 2, and 3. They are yarn dyed. So first year was the white one, second year was a black one, and for the teams that went to the playoff, they also got the Earn Edition last year. They actually didn't do that this year, but last year, for the teams that went to the playoff the previous season, they got one extra jersey. And for Miami, it was the pink one. So now they got all four colorways that is in the Miami Vice color. This will be the last one of it. And I'm not sure what they're gonna do afterwards. So maybe they need to switch it up next year. So we got three different colors on the yarn. So three different colors on the rib knit. Same thing with the armhole, three different colors. They're flat, and there's top stitch on both sides. And behind the neck, there's another taping to hide the seam line, so these ugly part doesn't show with this stitch. So last year, the swoosh, they were like shiny and glossy, but this year, it's actually a little bit more matte. And this is more like a traditional screen print. In the past, it was a lot better. The texture wasn't shown, so it was smooth. But this year for the City Edition, they changed it up a little bit, so it's not as smooth. There is no patch here because I didn't buy at the team store. I got this at Nike.com or somewhere around there. So if you buy it anywhere outside of the team store, you will not get this patch. If you want the patch, you need to buy at the team store. That is the only way. And that goes to every single team, not just Miami, but every single team in NBA. And Miami, the logo is in single patch. This is a 12 fabric, and all these colors are screen printed on a white fabric. 1, 2, 3, 4 colors, or actually 3 colors are printed. And it bleeds out, or there's an outline with blue. From far away, it's a little bit hard to tell, but if you look close in, it's very obvious. Looks pretty good. It's heat adhesive patch. There is no stitch on it. And same thing with the number. It has 1, 2, 3, 4 different colors. It's a single patch, and they're heat adhesive. On the bottom, we got the players patch, but for all the other City Edition, they actually have another thing right here. So for this one, it could have been Miami Vice. They have their theme or nickname to this jersey on top of here. They're screen printed on, but for some reason this one doesn't have it. Let's look at the back now. So this is how the back looks. Same piece right here. NBA logo is a thin print. Weight is in black. And this is also a twill fabric. Heat adhesive. And same thing with the number. For the side panel, it has a rectangular side panel. And there is no extra trim to it. It's just a simple one. And there is no opening here because this is a Swingman. So I almost forgot that for Miami Heat, there's actually a bias tape on your right side. So it's the same color pattern as the rib knit, but it's not the same fabric. This is just a bias tape. It's a woven fabric. So it does not stretch at all. And it goes all the way to the bottom. But on the other side, it's actually blank. So it's a symmetrical design, and I almost forgot about this detail. So if you pay about $100 more, you will get the authentic jersey. This is also not from the team store, so it does not have a sponsor badge right here. So let's see the difference between this $200 jersey and $110 jersey. So here's the neckline. The bottom one is the authentic. The top one is Swingman. If you look at it from far away, you could see that the shape on the authentics are a lot nicer. This one, it's okay, but it doesn't hold the shape that well because this piece stretches. But this one, it actually doesn't stretch at all. This is just a woven fabric, so it does not stretch. That way, when you put it on, it'll keep the shape a little bit better. So the line will be a little bit sharper compared to these guys. And I always have an issue with Swingman round neck. When I have a t-shirt underneath, it always looks a little bit off-centered. It doesn't lay on the body too well. So I think, at least for me, authentic works better. This guy, it's always slanted, or my t-shirt gets a little pulled on one direction to the other. And with authentic, it doesn't do it as much. And you can see that the shape are different. It's cut a little bit deeper compared to this guy, but this one is a little bit wider to the side and a little bit more shallow on to the chest. So it's a little bit higher up, but it's a little bit wider. And because it's so much more wider between the two sides, it's easy to get off balance. Same difference here. This rib knit, this is the woven fabric. So the shape will look better. And the angles are a little bit different too. This one is a little bit more curved, whereas this one is a little bit more straight. Rib knit, woven fabric. The line looks cleaner on this one because woven fabric is like crisscross, whereas this one, when they knit it, it's more zigzag. That's why you see the corners on these lines. But this one doesn't have it because it's made with straight. It's made with horizontal and vertical lines. So the lines are a little bit more sharper on this one around the neckline. And for the lining, there is no lining For the authentic, as I mentioned earlier, there is no tape like this because this tape is woven onto this base fabric, and you see the stitch right here. So it has a clean finish, therefore you don't need to have this bias tape on the back. All these are clean finished, whereas this one is a raw finish. This is still considered finish, but you see the stitch. For higher quality stitches, you're not supposed to show this. This is like a really cheap version of stitching a knit. But for more expensive stitch, it hides the seam allowance with a bias tape or whatever you need to do with fabric, so you don't see it. That's the sign of the quality. Not many jerseys do these finishes, even on the more expensive one. They don't do it as often. But for Nike Authentic, they do it. And here is this difference in swoosh. Authentic, Swingman. Swingman, like I mentioned earlier, this is a print, whereas this one is a twill fabric, and they're also stitched on. This is a new detail from this year. Until last year, it was also like this. It was a print, but it was a thicker print. This year, they changed it to twill, so you have more quality to it. And a little bit less chance of falling off too by stitching them on. Because even if it was a higher quality print, I think it still have more chances of coming off. Definitely an upgrade compared to last year. And a lot of people are complaining that the Authentic doesn't have enough quality. So I guess Nike is trying to make that up by giving a little better detail. So this is the logo for Swingman, and this is Authentic. They look the same, but on this one, you see the top stitches along the edge. And for Swingman, it's just flat print. So this is all twill, one fabric. But for Authentic, this part is twill, but this two color, they're actually separate piece. This is like a rubber texture. This is another print on top of the twill. So that's why you don't see the grain of the twill. It's smooth because it's printed on. This is similar to this print, but smoother. It feels the same as the Authentic jersey swoosh or NBA jersey. It has like the rubber feel to it. And the edge is top stitched. And it's like that throughout. And same thing goes with the number. Swingman, Authentic. There's a top stitch. It definitely does help with the detail. It looks a little bit more, there's a lot more dimensions to it because of this texture. Whereas this one, it just looks very flat. A little bit more depth to the number. So the pink part is a twill, and these black and white. This section is the rubber finish. So this part is a rubber finish. And for the number, it has perforation on it. And some team, even for Authentic, this year, some of the jersey numbers for Authentic doesn't have a perforation on it, but this does have it. which is good because if there isn't perforation, it makes it a little bit more stiffer and it won't lay on the body as softly. So the player's patch are the same. Only difference is this says authentic, this says Swingman, as well as for authentic, there's this +2 sign on it. This means it's 2 inches longer than the regular size. Here's how it looks on the back. So 3 is the number of championship that they won, and this patch is only available for authentic jerseys. They did not have it here for Swingman. And the NBA logo is slightly different. NBA logo on the authentic does not have a frame like the Swingman jersey. Jerry West and NBA is a little bit raised compared to the background, whereas this one is just super flat. So here's the shoulder panel. So this one there's a center seam right here on the shoulder, and it's a separate piece here. But for Swingman, it's actually extensions from the front fabric, from the front side, all the way to the back. So there's only 2 fabrics, the front and the back, whereas the Swingman is 1, 2, 3, and the base fabric. That's 4 fabrics. So authentic has less fabric counts than the Swingman, and also for certain jerseys that have side panel, +2 on those. But that's same thing for the authentic too, usually. And one of the biggest difference between the authentic and the Swingman is definitely the armhole on the back side. So the fabric extends from the front to the back and gets cut off. This piece right here does not extend on the back side. So this line right here is straight and then curved to the underarm seam, whereas this one is just round. When you try to round a rib knit fabric, there's always warping because it stretches a lot easier. It's also a little bit hard to stitch around with a rib knit. So that's why there's a lot of warping around the armhole area, because there's always a little stretching here and there, and it gathers when they're done. So a little bit less issue with these because you don't have to have that curve with the one piece of fabric. I think this is a really good way to avoid that issue that these guys create. And I don't know why they can't do the same stitch on these guys. I know it will cost a little bit more, but it definitely will look better if this was also the same thing. Here's the name. The fabric on this one is a little bit thinner, and they're also glossier. Weight on the authentic, they're a little bit more matte, and the black is a lot darker. And the twill fabric is a little bit thicker compared to the Swingman jersey too. This one definitely feels a lot more quality compared to this one. And just like the front logo, it's also stitched on around the edge. So this one gives a little bit cheaper looking. Swingman jersey, authentic jersey. The color is a little bit darker on this one. It's definitely stronger. This is a little bit more softer color. I think that's more preference, but I personally like this one better. Slightly bolder color. And this fabric is a single piece, heat adhesive, so there is no stitch here. But on this one, you could see the stitch from far away. That gives a little bit more, just like the front, it gives a little bit more dimensions on this one, and definitely looks a little bit more expensive. Number on the back is also perforated, and it's a twill fabric with a rubber finish to it. Black and white is a print on top of this twill fabric, and also has an edge, and this blue part is stitched on with a zigzag stitch along the edge. So this is how the side panel looks. Swingman Authentic. This is the side panel right here. But for Authentic, there is no side panel. It's just a center. It's just a side seam going through down with a taping. And this is the same taping as the armhole, and it turns into a separate piece and turn the corner, goes all the way down and turns into a slit. Only Authentic jersey has slit. Swingman never has it. And it's a little bit longer on the back. So the front is shorter, back is a little bit longer, and it also has an opening. And these tapes, I think they're the same one. These two, they're using the same tape. So when I line up the jersey, the angle here is definitely different. It looks a lot sharper on the Authentic. And when you go down, Authentic goes a little bit lower than Swingman jersey. It doesn't curve as much, so that's why it goes a little bit lower. The width are the same on both sides. So Swingman and Authentic, they have the same chest circumference. So the sides should be the same, but the length is completely different. This is how much longer. Authentic, Swingman. This is a lot of difference in the length. So this is a 2-inch part that they say right here. And also, the fabric is definitely different. So this is the Swingman. This is Authentic fabric. This one has a little bit more smoother, silkier look, but this one has more texture. So completely different texture. This is a little bit thinner compared to the previous one. This is a little bit thinner compared to the Swingman jersey, but compared to the older Authentics, this is a lot thicker. So I used to say be careful if you're getting an Authentic because they're a little bit more fragile with the fabric. That's not the case anymore. They changed the construction of the shape. So in the past, where they have these different texture and the solid, there were a lot more of these in the middle too, throughout the whole body. Now there's a lot more solid areas. It makes it a little bit stronger, and also this fabric itself feels a lot stronger. It might be slightly thicker than what it used to be because the older one, it really felt like feather light. It was way too light. I think that's why it was ripping a lot easier because there were too much perforations, and they also had a wider perforation throughout the middles too. So, what do you think about these two jerseys? Would you get the authentic or the Swingman jersey? I personally like the authentic better just because it lays on the body a little bit better, especially around the neckline. Because this one, it never looks good. I really have to be careful before I wear them. But authentic, I feel like it lays on the body a little bit better and it stays in a position a little bit better too. As far as the length goes, I think for my body type, Swingman is better because they're a little bit shorter. But as an overall fit, I personally like this authentic version. I definitely like the detail of the authentic. And of course, it's different because you're paying $90 more. But I personally like this one better. And this might be the last one of the Miami Vice edition. So this is definitely a keeper. Out of the four colors, this is probably number 3. I still like the first Miami Vice and the Miami Vice Night a little bit better than this one. Pink one, it's a little too loud for me. I don't think I did a review for that, but I do still have them. And I'll be doing another video on Miami Vice edition, so please look forward to that. So yeah, let me know how you feel about these. But anyways, that's it for today. As usual, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, as well as liking the video. Appreciate your support, and see you next time.